able to do this without any interruptions. Um, I definitely want to do this and finish whatever message I have to share. So let's see how it goes because I tried earlier and there were issues. So hopefully there are no issues now. Let's see how things go. Okay. So, yeah, welcome. We are going to be looking at only 4 points today. I usually go to about 8 points. Sometimes I will go to 10 points, but we're going through only 4 points today because this 4 points, it seems like there's a lot to actually go over. Like there are a lot of sub points within every single point. I made sure that I put out the thumbnail there, which is something that I don't usually do, but I wanted to do the thumbnail. I hope the thumbnail is visible, at least when someone is passing through the lives here, because, of course, as usual, you're not going to see me. Um, you're only just going to hear me. We're only going to uh, hear each other, listen to each other. You're welcome to share your comments in the chat. And so let's just go ahead and look into these 4 points. Yeah, we're going to be talking about Alabuga. It's this work program in Russia where South African young ladies are recruited to basically start working that side. And then we're also going to be talking about Owami the Ninja. Actually, this is more of me talking to Owami. I'm really sending a message to her, and yeah, this is something that I hardly ever do. I hope I don't ever have to do this again. Um, I just feel a little bit pressed to do it for whatever reason. I think the reason will unfold itself or will basically show itself as I get to that specific point. So we're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about Cape Independence. I know this is where we sort of like begin to segue a little bit, like we are literally just moving away from the main, two initial topics. So I'm sure people that are more into that Alabuga and Owami the Ninja topic, we will start losing them around the time when we get to Cape Independence, which is fine. But I had to study it this way because these are the first 2 points here are the ones that I really want to focus on first before I focus on the other stuff. So we've got the Cape Independence issue here in South Africa, and then we also have the Palestine, Israel, and Ukraine refugee issue here in Cape Town as well. So we're going to be addressing those. Now let's start with this Alabuga situation. As I previously mentioned, so with Alabuga, it's a program where young South African girls, are being recruited to work in a program, basically a startup work program in Tatarstan in Russia. And so these young girls are between the ages of 18 to 22. And I also just want to say a whole lot of things here are going to be allegedly because, some of these things are things that we hear from other people and we are not able to verify 100%. So literally the whole thing here, in the words of Tasha K, it's allegedly, everything is allegedly. And also, over and above that, it's some of the statements that I'll be making here will be based on my own opinions and perspectives. So these people get to work, they go there, they are recruited, and then they work there. And so, based on what I've heard, some of the people who work there, is that so they are told that they are going to basically be doing a whole lot of things when they get to Russia. But it turns out that when they get there, they basically find themselves doing one particular thing, which is making drones, apparently. But in fact, this particular story comes from one person. But when you listen to other people, it sounds like they do actually do other things as well. So it's not really that maybe on one, because it looks like there are several programs that are running. So it's like each year there's a new program that starts. So perhaps that one particular program, it turned out that these people were doing drones, and then as time went on, what happened is that they were able to then include or incorporate other programs as well, other things as well. So for example, you are not only just doing drones, you are probably working in the hospitality industry, you are also a driver, and a whole lot of things like that. So that's how it sounds based on what I'm gathering on social media. So um now what happened here is that uh, South African influencers were, of course, recruited to go ahead and promote this particular thing that is going on there, this program, because it's a great opportunity, or so it looks like it. It sounds like it. It's a great opportunity for people to be able to go and travel overseas, and I mean, that's just amazing to be able to do that, isn't it? And I think it's about a 3-year program or something like that. So who wouldn't want, especially if you are between the age 18 to 22, who wouldn't want to be in Russia? Who wouldn't want to be in Russia for 3 years? You understand? I mean, Russia is a very beautiful place. So, especially Tatarstan, you know. So, what happened is that now, um, all of a sudden, these influencers, of course, they've been recruited, they have marketed the whole program, and everything is beautiful. And then, out of the blue, over the past week or so, come this story that says, there's human trafficking that is taking place there. These people are being recruited here under false pretenses. And then when they get there, they are basically forced to work under terrible conditions. And, they are suffering, and basically things are not working out for them. They are sort of like in a very seriously challenging position, basically. And many people even on social media are crying out to say, when are the girls coming back? We need the girls to come back. And it's like, but I'm not really getting the gist of what exactly is it that really being reported here with regards to the human trafficking element. What horrible circumstances are this exactly? And once again, so when you listen to the people who work there or who have worked there, when they talk about their stories to say what is it that they have experienced in the program, it just sounds like it's one of those situations where you perhaps had a certain expectation, and maybe a certain expectation was set out for you with regards to, okay, this is the whole thing here. This is, you're going to get this wonderful, amazing thing. You have these great expectations, but when you get there, let's say out of 10, the whole situation maybe is like a 6 out of 10, or maybe even a 5 out of 10. It's one of those situations. So it's like some of them had to wait for a little while before they really started working, a few months. It's almost as if maybe the program at some point had some glitches here and there. But honestly, I'm not getting the part whereby there's a serious problem that these people are really facing, because understand, for many of us, when someone starts talking about human trafficking, the first thing that we're going to run to in our minds is this, some factual, will replace the F or the S. We're thinking there's some factual issues there involved. You understand, some factual problems, or or maybe some sweatshop kind of a situation. People working 24 hours, and they are really living in very, very dirty and very unlivable conditions. Kind of, that's what we are expecting. But what it sounds like, no, it's not really like that. These people seem to be living and working, and I could be wrong, but that's what I've heard from the people that have actually been there. You understand, from via social media, the lives that they have done and so on. Sounds like the situation is just, yeah, it's not as great as they expected, but also it's not as horrible as we might be told. You understand, that's what I'm getting here. And I've also just watched McG Chill, what is it, something chill podcast. I've just watched that now. And I was able to hear, from the side of the influencers as well as the agency that, recruited the influencers who promoted the whole thing. So I was able to hear what exactly is it, that's happening from their side. And even from them, I'm still not able to get exactly what is this horrible thing that is being reported to be happening that side. You understand? And the thing is, the way this thing blew up, like it really, really blew up out of proportion. Like, I mean, everyone has been talking about it, how that the influencers are recruiting our children and, for human trafficking, they are trafficking our children and all these things. But once again, when you go into the whole thing and try and understand what exactly is it that has happened to the children there? Where are they? What are they saying? What's going on with them? You're not really getting anything. You're not getting much other than the fact that, oh, okay, fine. We expected to be, working in the restaurants, but we are making drones, or we expected to be, to start working within this particular month, but we started maybe 2 months later. That's what you are hearing. You understand? So I don't know. Maybe there's something that I'm missing in this situation, but that's as far as I can see. So hello everyone. Hello Innocent Nengele. Hello. Hello Wild Nikki. Hello and welcome. So that's what I'm hearing here. So that's the story as far as I'm picking it up, or as far as I'm following it. And then now, when it comes to the influencers, what is it that they know? Because I think the influencers are, over and above the people who went to that site, basically over and above the people that went to Russia, the people that we are all worried about, we are concerned that they could be trafficked and everything. We are also, focusing on the influencers, isn't it? Because we see them as the people, the face of the whole program, and the people that recruited our children to basically be human trafficked, quote unquote. So when you listen to the story of the influencers, you can hear that they themselves are our children as well, who basically just came across something that looked very, very legitimate. There are agencies, very reputable, credible agencies involved in the whole situation. There are government institutions involved in this whole. There are ambassadors and a whole lot of, very big countries involved in this whole situation. So our little girls, our little influencers here in South Africa, of course, they're not going to suspect that something of that magnitude would have anything to do with human trafficking. You understand? That's as far as I can see, and also listening to them, they tried to do a little bit of their research on Google, and they tried to, ask around, look at each other in terms of, okay, who is it that's participating in this whole thing as influencers? Who is it that's, is more credible within the influencer space, that, if you know that this person is participating in this thing, that means it's okay for me to participate in it as well. So they try to do whatever little bit of due diligence that they could do. And shame, they really feel bad that, these young girls, because you can see that they feel like they could have done more. But as far as I can see it, it's like, what else could they have done? I mean, they even went to Russia. You understand? They went to Russia, and whatever it is that was presented to them didn't look like there was anything for them to be concerned about. Some of them will even tell you that they did have some conversations with some of the people who are that side participating in the program. So it's like, yes, it's possible that, there could be certain people that have been chosen, to be able to represent the program, and they could have also been told what to say and a whole lot of things. I understand. But the point is, it would have been very difficult for these young girls, these influencers, to be able to know, what else is it that they would look for. Remember, these people are not investigators, they're not private investigators. These are young girls, influencers. You understand? These are just content creators. They are just creatives. They just, post things on social media. So I really do feel like it's a little bit unfair, for any of us to have expected them to actually know more than what they know. You understand? Or for us to have expected them to do much more in-depth, diligent than what they have done. So that's how I see the influencer story, and I really feel like, once again, if the way that I see the situation is accurate, which is, it looks like there isn't really something, drastically horrible happening to the girls in Russia, other than the fact that, they might just be doing a different program than the one that they thought that they were going to be recruited for, aka you thought you were going to be, in hospitality, you thought you were going to work in a restaurant, but you end up working, in effect, making drones. Other than that, I really do feel like, um, yeah, the influencers themselves are just as much, victims in this whole situation as the rest of the people. That's how I see it. All right, I see that the influencers are just as much victims as, who are these people, the girls who have gone to, Russia. So, um, let's look at the story of the agency. So, on McGee's podcast, there's this guy called Sia. I forgot the name of the agency that he represents, but it's the agency that recruited the influencers, not all the influencers, but some of the influencers. So, this agency is also a very reputable agency, and so their story is that how they got, to know about the program was through another agency which is based in Dubai. And so that agency based in Dubai is also a credible agency as well. And so they trusted that agency in Dubai to basically be running something that is very legitimate. And so they were able to recruit the influencers. Basically, this SIA agency person was the middleman between the Dubai agency and the influencers. So he himself had very little knowledge and understanding of the whole thing. And he relied on whatever it is that the company in Dubai was presenting to him, the other agency in Dubai. So the agency in Dubai was the one that was interacting and communicating with, the people who are running the program in Russia. So SIA, the agency, relied on the Dubai agency, and the Dubai agency being a legitimate, credible agency, he decided that as long as they are involved in this, this is good enough for me. Any question that they could have had, the Dubai agency, would have responded and said, okay, no, there isn't any human trafficking, there isn't anything to be concerned about. Everything is good and everything is legitimate. It sounds and seems like, even to him as well, the whole thing, looked like it was above board. You understand? So that's, as far as I can see here. So my take on the whole thing is this now. What has happened, the aftermath of this is that, one, once again, are not really trying to come back to South Africa. So as far as I can see, doesn't sound like whatever it is that they are dealing with is enough for them to say, no, we even want to go back to South Africa. Someone help us, please come and take us back home. It sounds as if, no, those people are actually willing to stay there, and perhaps some of them could even want to stay there longer. You understand? That's how it sounds like. It sounds like they're okay. So we still need to find out. We still need to find out. Whoever is in charge of this situation will tell us more. But so far, it sounds like those girls, once again, who are with here are really the influencers. I know it's gonna sound funny, but with this whole thing that has just unfolded over the past few weeks, you can see that influencers are in a very precarious position, particularly these big ones here in South Africa. There is some kind of, hostility and animosity towards, influencers. I think it's that thing that we might have maybe as human beings, and perhaps this might also be coming from other influencers. Maybe there's that element of competition as well, and maybe wanting to get rid of your competition. But I really do feel like, society, like we have really dealt very harshly with these influencers, because we literally put everything on them, and it's almost as if we overlooked and forgot the fact that they are literally just like how any other celebrity just finds themselves, having to endorse certain, products, because that's how they make money. And once again, they have done their little bit of due diligence, the best that they could do. They have done, they tried. And I'm not saying they are 100% squeaky clean or anything like that, but I'm saying I feel like we are a little bit too harsh on them. That's how I see this whole thing. I really do feel like we have been very, very harsh with them. And maybe some of us have had certain issues with them. And this was a good enough, opportunity for us to express those issues that we have with this young girls. You understand that? That's how I see it. And really, the one person, and I feel like there's a whole lot of people that are involved in this situation that should definitely step up for these influencers. And the first person that should have been one to do that is this SIA agency person. Okay, the one that recruited the influencers to basically promote this thing. Because once again, remember, to the influencers, this whole thing has always come across as legitimate. That, there's a product that you're going to be promoting and it's an F&B product like that, you might want to make sure that it's definitely F&B. But once you find out that this is really F&B, like, are you really going to be wondering, is it good? Is it safe? Is everyone? Oh, let's be honest, you are not, because F&B is a trustworthy company. You understand? So this is one of those situations here that, okay, if you're dealing with McDonald's, that McDonald's is a reputable, company. So if you're going to be working with McDonald's, you're not worried that something horrible could be happening. So this is how these influencers approach this situation as well. And I'm not saying they are speaking clean, but I'm saying let's also try and see things from their perspective as well. Okay, Sia, the agent, should have done a little bit more. That's my take here. Sia could have done a little bit more in this situation. What is it that he could have done? Number one, as soon as this whole story started, blowing up, Sia should have called the influencers. I was listening to him now on McGee's podcast, and he was saying, no, the influencers don't want to hear him calling and saying, I'm on it. They just want to know that the whole situation is resolved. They want to see the situation being resolved. And it's like, no, Sia, that's not right. That's not fair. That's not true. Because you are automatically assuming what it is that the influencers want without you trying to find out from them what it is that they want. So, but honestly, as the people that you are working with, as the people that you have recruited into this situation, it's only fair that you call them. That's how business works, isn't it? You call people, you tell them, okay, I see that this situation is getting out of hand, but I want you to know I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure out, or maybe do you have any ideas? What is it that you might want to suggest that I do in this situation? But to completely cut them out, because that's what it sounds like it has happened. As soon as the story blew out of proportion, Sia was not responsive to the influencers when they were trying to ask him what's going on here. Because remember, they themselves don't know, they don't understand. They are hearing for the first time from us as the public that there's a trafficking situation and they are involved in it. So this is, their position now. They're trying to get help. They're trying to understand from Sia. And Sia is quiet, is unresponsive. And his excuse for that is that no, he didn't want to just tell them I'm working on it. He wanted to make sure that he delivers results. That's not fair. That's not how you do things. That's not how you conduct yourself that you are doing business with. You want to communicate with them and let them know that I'm aware of the situation and maybe let's troubleshoot together, or else this is what I'm busy doing. So that's number one that happened here. And I'm not saying I would have done better in the same situation. I don't know. But because I'm watching from the outside, it's easier for me to make this kind of commentaries, isn't it? Isn't it? So the second thing that he could have done is then contact social media platforms like TikTok, and what's this? I think Instagram or Facebook or some other Meta. So these are the people that have banned this, influencers. These people had about just under 3 million. I hear one of them had about under 3 million, 2.8 million followers. And so they had a huge following. These are big influencers, you understand? And of course, this is their livelihood. So he knew and he understood the kind of position that these people were in. And so definitely something needed to be done. And so he could have contacted the social media platforms and let them know that this is a situation that's going on here. Please understand that there are various governments involved here. There are various very big role players involved here. And for them to be able to investigate this matter and resolve this issue might take a little bit of time. And whilst we are still waiting for that, please do not ban these people's accounts. Let's first find out what's going on here. Give me 2 days, give me 3 days. Let me just quickly investigate and try and understand for myself what's going on. And then from there, then we can go ahead and you can go ahead and decide, plead with the platforms not to ban these people, to say they've done their diligence, whatever it is that you could say that you need to say to the platforms, just to at least make sure that you preserve these people's accounts, because once the accounts are banned, that means a whole lot of things are going wrong in these influencers' lives. Another thing that he could have done is also you know do contact Russia. I understand he keeps saying that, no, you know what, I can't really communicate with Russia because I wasn't initially communicating with Russia. Russia was only communicating with the agency in Dubai. So I don't really have a relationship with Russia and all of that. It's like, at this point in time, you can't afford to be going that direction now. You can't afford to be saying, no, I don't have a relationship with Russia anymore. You cannot afford to do that because it, this is a crisis situation. And just like, when you are, as a client, if you are dealing with any organization and the people that you are dealing with are not attending to your problem, you typically ask for management. You typically want to escalate the matter. So I feel like he didn't address this issue with the sense of urgency that was required. That's my take, that he needed to at least communicate with Russia now, get contacts to say, okay, who's running the program, what's going on there, and try and get evidence, try and get information as to what exactly is it that's going on there. Even if it's not something whereby he's going to make a public statement for legal reasons or whatever, but at least to be able to communicate to Meta and TikTok, to say to them, here's the thing, this is what I've been able to find out. I've communicated with these people here, and I have not been able to find any proof of human trafficking there. You understand? Just so that they are able to maintain or to at least keep these people's accounts. Even if he fails, but the mere fact that he is doing something and he keeps reporting to them, these influencers would have at least known that someone is fighting for us, instead of him just completely shutting them off, just being unresponsive to them. You understand? So that's where the issue is for me, because then it's like he's throwing them under the bus, or he's just leaving them, to just burn. And then one final thing here that he could have done also is, to just put out a statement, a whole lot of statements, perhaps, on social media, to just say, um, you know, guys, I understand that you think that this is what is happening, or I understand that there is information that is circulating here over social media saying that this is what's going on with these young influencers here. But as the agency that has recruited them, I want to let you know that we on our side don't know anything about any human trafficking problem. And our influencers, there's no way that they are involved in anything that could have to do with human trafficking. Just something to at least remind society, remind people who follow these people that they are not involved. These influencers are not involved. These influencers are not trying to traffic anyone. He knows that these influencers were not trying to traffic anyone. He knows that. The question is, why has he kept quiet whilst these influencers' reputations were getting damaged? So I really fell short here, and I wasn't comfortable with the way that he was just deflecting and refusing to someone. It's like, even his apology, he doesn't say, I'm really sorry for what I've. He says, I feel very apologetic, or I am very apologetic. That doesn't sound like an apology. And then he also takes the victim stance. It's almost as if he places himself in the same position as the influencers, to say, his reputation is also damaged,
And I don't see it that way. I really don't see it that way because no one knows him. This today was the first time I heard about him. Today was the first time I saw him. If he hadn't come to that McG podcast, I wouldn't even know about him. But I know about these influencers. No one knows him. So there's no way that his reputation could be as damaged as this influencer's reputation. And there's also no way that his ability to generate future livelihood can be as affected as this influencer's future livelihood is or has been affected. You understand? So I really do feel like the way that he has approached this situation, and I could understand why McG was also frustrated with him in the podcast as well. I get the fact that this human trafficking, there isn't any evidence of the human trafficking, so he feels that he's innocent in this whole situation. He feels that they are all innocent. I get it, but that doesn't abdicate him. It doesn't remove that responsibility on his part to at least fight for the influencers. It's almost as if as soon as he realized that, oh, we are innocent, there's nothing bad going on here, it's almost as if he washed his hands clean, and he forgot that there are people whose lives are actually being destroyed in this whole process. It can come across as if it's just many a times when we look at influencers, we just see, I don't know, things that are just frivolous and whatever, but this is people's lives. You understand? We really really I don't know, we undermine this whole thing of social influencing, people just busy collecting followers on social media accounts and everything. But this is very very important, because this is actually how many people are making their lives, they're earning their income from these platforms. These things that many a times we laugh at them, many a times we don't really take them seriously, but to them that's how they survive on a daily basis. And I really feel like this gentleman, Sia, the agent here, he really he fell short here. And really, I was not comfortable with the way that he was just handling, even in that podcast, the way he was just handling himself. It's almost as if he's just literally one of the influencers. It's like he's one of the influencers, and he just he doesn't understand the role and the responsibility that he has to play. He keeps saying, no, I'm very apologetic and everything, but so yeah, I hope at least someone picks up on that. But I think even in the podcast, some of the solutions themselves, they could have discussed them. I hope they will be able to reinstate this influencers accounts, because I'm not sure how this whole story ended up being blown up out of proportion like this. But honestly, it's like, until we get the real story from the people who are there, who feel and believe that they are being trafficked, until we get that story, it's really unfair of us to be treating these influencers this way. And honestly, as South Africans, this is not how we should be treating. I understand all over the world people treat influencers however it is that they want to treat them. But for us here as South Africans, and here's the thing, human trafficking is a very, very serious thing. So I do not want us to invalidate that, and I do not want us to take it lightly. But at the same time, I want us to really reconsider, or at least take time before we take action when it comes to destroying people's lives. Make sure that at least we have sufficient evidence, and make sure that whatever it is that we really believe that they should be is something that's really worth banning people for. So um what can one person do, Mara? I've already said what can one person do, Lion Tao. I've already said what can one person do. One person can call the various party. Firstly, one person can call the influencers that he has recruited. He can call them. He can talk to them. He can at least let them know, keep them up to date, let them know what he's doing, or at least if he doesn't know what to do, troubleshoot with them as to what exactly is it that we can do in this situation. He can communicate with Meta and with TikTok as the agency and let them know exactly what's going on, and then give them the evidence that he has been able to collect with regards to the fact that there isn't any trafficking taking place. He can do that. He can request and plead with these social media platforms to reinstate these people's accounts. That's really what I hope will happen in this situation. I really do hope, um, you know, that gets to happen. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with taking responsibility. Hey, there's really nothing wrong with taking responsibility and saying, like, I'm not. I understand that sometimes for legal reasons you might not want to say things in a particular way and so on. But I really feel like this influencers expected more communication from him than anything else. Him just keeping them in the loop, and him showing that he understands that he has played a significant role in putting them in this position, because remember, they trusted him. He's a reputable guy. He's someone that they see as legitimate. And to say, you know what, I didn't know what I didn't know, I relied on someone else, but this is what I'm going to do now to fix the situation. Let me work with you, and where I'm falling short, what do you think I should do? Help me, show me what is it that you want me to do. You understand? That's what one person can do. One guy. This is what one guy can do. One person can do a lot. And even if he fails, as I previously mentioned, at least people will be able to see that he tried his best. All right. At least they will see that he tried, he fought for them. So I'm leaving this one. I'm moving on to my next point here, which is Oami the Ninja. I don't see any questions or anything like that. I've responded to you, Lion Tau. Cairo, you sound like you are Egyptian. What are you? And then you are complaining that it's black you are living. That's very funny. You are, Cairo is a black name. So I don't know, why are you being racist, or maybe you are black from America or from some other part of the world. Anyway, let's look at Owami the Ninja. So the reason why I'm actually talking about Owami here, and really I'm talking to Owami now. Like, this is me talking to you, Owami, if you are watching, or if you ever come across this, or if your ninjas end up directing you this side. Okay, this is to you. And the reason why I'm actually addressing you in this regard is because of your review of this whole situation. You also did a video of this whole Alabuga situation, and you shared your perspective about the situation. And yeah, it's one of those things. You are one of my favorite influencers here, or one of my favorite YouTubers. You are one of the people that I really enjoy when it comes to the space of entertainment and gossip here in South Africa. And I've responded to your videos, actually, in the past, and I've only said wonderful things, because I really I've actually commented, yeah, more commented than responded. And it's always, you are my favorite YouTuber. That those are my comments, you understand. And I don't want to lie, over the past few weeks or months, I've been having a very rough relation with this person. And my presence and my support and everything is not that important. But I am just doing my best, even if it does nothing, that's fine. But sometimes you just have to say something. Sometimes you just have to talk, for, as I said, for what it's worth. And so the reason why I'm doing this is because I had told myself that I was going to keep quiet about this Gogo Manzini situation. Okay. Even though it is the main reason why I've been having a bit of a difficult relationship with your channel over the past few weeks or months. The reason why I'm doing this is because why I had decided to be quiet was because but then, let's face it, sometimes it's difficult to replace, some channels, some content creators with any other person. You understand? So the kind of content that you create, Owami, as an entertainer and a gossip YouTuber,